organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, skipping class might help get that dreaded essay done, but how much is it hurting your wallet?
Not a drag queen, but a group of drag kings who are doing more than entertaining. They're also raising money for an important cause.
And in sports, we're taking a look at Hawkeye Baseball's recent skid.
Daily Iowan TV is about to start.
Good evening, I'm Brianna Jett.
And I'm Matt Starnes.
This month is National Donate Life Month. It's dedicated to raising awareness about organ donations. A family from Burlington, Iowa shared their personal story about the impact organ donors can have at the University of Iowa Monday night. Daily Iowan TV's Gabriella Dunn went to hear their story.
Garrett and I went to Mass at 8 o'clock on that morning. Just give me a second, it takes a little bit, it's hard.
Emotion filled the theater at the Iowa Memorial Union as Bruce and Tiffany Brockway shared their story about organ donating from their 10-year-old son. Last February, Bruce Brockway and his son Garrett were cutting down trees in the yard when tragedy struck. As Bruce cut down one tree, it struck two more trees, with the third one landing on Garrett. The next day, doctors told the Brockways that Garrett was brain dead. That's when the Brockways were faced with the question of whether or not to donate Garrett's organs.
And that the whole organ donation process has been wonderful for us. It's been a bright light, as we've said many times. It's been a bright light in our home, in an otherwise very dark time.
One little girl named Daly at Monday's event is still waiting for a new liver. This Friday marks the second year that 2.5-year-old Daly has been waiting for a liver transplant.
I'm going to get emotional, but it's hard to ask someone to donate this gift of life, but at the same time, somebody donating is going to save my child's life.
Transplant coordinators always try to match donors based on proximity, so preference is given to Iowans waiting for organ transplants. But Daly's tiny body makes her a tough candidate for organ transplants. As Daly waits for a transplant, her mom and the Brockways want to stress the importance of becoming an organ donor. Gabriella Dunn, Daily Iowan TV.
If you want to become an organ donor, you can register online at iowadonorregistry.org.
Amanda Green isn't your typical performer, normally a she. When Amanda dons her male alter ego, she becomes a he as a drag king. The Iowa City Kings started in 2009 with just 3 members. They now have 10 core members, and they've at a venue where they perform.
It ended up really hooking me. I got addicted quite quickly to performing.
Besides dressing up and entertaining, the group also uses their voice to stick up for issues on gay bullying and suicides. For performances like these, the group donates all their tips to foundations advocating for these issues. The IC Kings perform as both males and females and say they love playing with the concept of gender.
With the warmer weather every day and the semester almost coming to an end, skipping class becomes a much more tempting thing to do. Who doesn't want to lay out on the Pentacrest all day? A New York Times article says class attendance is at an all-time low. Daily Iowan TV's Gina Sabarbaro checked in with UI students to see why they're making the choice not to attend class.
When attending college, having to go to class to get that degree is expected. However, more and more students seem to be skipping class. A study done by CBS News states that the average college student skips about 26 classes a year. While many students may think that being absent isn't affecting them, it's actually taking a toll on their wallet.
Here, at the University of Iowa, the average full-time student takes about 14 semester hours. This means for an out-of-state student to miss a single class period would cost them about $60. For an in-state student to miss a single class period would cost them about $18.
So, what are students doing instead of going to class?
I've skipped class to work out, to sleep, to go to lunch with my friends, study for an exam. Sometimes I've skipped class because it's really cold out and I just don't feel like walking.
Obviously, there are a variety of reasons for missing class, some more reasonable than others.
I'm supposed to be in class right now, but I decided to stay and online shop.
Since it is less noticeable, it seems to be more common for students to skip lectures instead of their smaller classes. So what are the teachers of these large classes doing to encourage attendance?
We do a clicker quiz. So this is a little clicker, and we have a remote. You point it at the big screen with the questions on it. It's like a smart board. And then it records your answers, and based on your clicker number in the back, he knows who was there.
Really, class attendance comes down to personal responsibility. Many students don't seem to realize that this behavior is only tolerated in college. While at a university, an absence may just result in the loss of a few clicker quiz points. In the professional world, it could be your job. Jean Scarborough, Daily Iowan TV.
Speaking of skipping class, seniors have about 5 weeks left until graduation. We're going to turn it over to Daily Iowan TV's Aaron Faust for this week's edition of Street Chatter. Aaron, what seems to be the hot topic on campus with UI seniors?
That's right, 5 weeks and counting. Some students are at the breaking point of what they're going to be doing after graduation. Others have exciting new ventures they're about to take on. Daily Iowan TV's Jordan Mickle went to see what these UI seniors are doing after the big day.
What are your plans after graduation?
I'm going to take a year off and study for my PCAT and then apply for pharmacy school.
I'm just doing internship right now. So, it's with the Trinity Hospitals in the Quad Cities.
I'm doing an internship at the Children's Hospital following graduation in May, so I'm really excited to begin my career there and hopefully follow it at a similar hospital following that in August.
Hopefully having a full-time job offered after the internship ends.
I know for me, it seems like just yesterday I was moving into my dorm room. Now I'm trying to figure out living situations for my future, all on top of searching for my dream job. Talk about pulling your hair out. If you would like to tell us your exciting plans for after graduation, tweet us at DITV News.
Thanks, Aaron. And there's more coming on Daily Iowan TV. The 2014-2015 school year might be a little more budget-friendly for students if one bill is approved by the governor.
And in sports, a recap of the NCAA championship game.
But first, we're going to hand it back over to our own Jordan Mickle to check out the rest of this week's weather. Jordan, should we be expecting these awesome temps to continue?
Yes, just exactly what we've been waiting for all winter. Wednesday morning will be cold and clear with a high of 32 degrees, but don't you worry, it will warm up to 58 in the afternoon with clear skies and stay that way into the evening with a high of 63 degrees. Taking a look at the rest of the week, Thursday will be partly cloudy and 63. That weather will stay the same through a Friday with a high of 64 degrees. Expect some rain this weekend with a high of 68, and on Saturday and more rain on Sunday with a high of 61. Monday will start off next week with a high of 49 degrees and ice pellet showers. That's all I've got for today. Back to you guys at the desk.
The three Iowa Regent universities are right on track for tuition freeze this fall. The freeze cleared the Senate on Monday, allowing in-state students to have locked-in tuition for the 2014-2015 academic year. This possible freeze is now waiting to be passed by the House of Representatives and signed by Governor Terry Branstad.
3 daughters are suing the state of Iowa for negligence in the death of their mother. Catherine Langstaff sought treatment at the UI hospitals and clinics for a replacement pacemaker battery. Langstaff's daughters argue a UI professor of internal medicine allegedly removed her pacemaker despite the fact she had an infection. UIHC employees are seeking compensation.
A strange story out of Pakistan. A 9-month-old baby was charged with attempted murder back in February along with 30 others. The baby is out on bail and relatives are now taking him into hiding. The child, along with his father and grandfather, allegedly stoned a police officer during a mob protest against increased gas prices and gas cuts. The baby is on bail and due to appear at the next hearing on April 12th.
Today marks the 40th anniversary of Hank Aaron's 715th home run. The 1974 Atlanta Brave broke Babe Ruth's home run record. Aaron finished his career with 755 career home runs, which has since been passed by Barry Bonds' 762 home runs. But Bonds' record had been clouded by steroid allegations.
Let's hear some news about our own baseball team in Iowa City. We'll turn it over to Daily Iowan TV's Jalen Sochek in the sports studio.
Hi guys, and welcome to your Tuesday edition of the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. A recap of last night's NCAA title game between UConn and Kentucky coming up, but first we'll head back to the Diamond. Rick Heller and squad have stumbled in their past 5 conference games, dropping all of them, including their first season sweep of reigning Big Ten champions Indiana this past weekend. The road doesn't get any easier as the team begins a 2-game series with a 21-11 Kansas tonight. I took a look to see if the honeymoon period with Heller is over. The start to Iowa's baseball season was one of any athletic director's dream. A new coach bringing in early success in just the first few weeks that previous teams couldn't hope to accomplish in an entire season. But the early success may be fizzling for the Hawks. Heller's squad is now 3-5 in the Big Ten after losing 5 straight conference matchups, including being swept by the Hoosiers. Where they once sat on the throne of the Big Ten standings, now they're resting in the bottom of the pack at 8th.
And we're trying to put ourselves in a position where we can be in the top half of the league and make sure that we get into the conference tournament. You know, when you have a lot of goals like that, then you have to come out and we all need to be a little bit better than we were today.
Despite the bump in the road, Iowa is still getting things swinging offensively. They boast the second highest batting average and the highest on-base percentage, and they're second in runs scored.
We have a good vibe around the team. Yeah. You know, anytime we go out there, we feel like if we play well, take care of ourselves, we'll have a chance to win. Obviously, this one hurts a little bit, and we'll soak it in, and we'll see how we can get better from it, and we'll be back out here tomorrow.
So where can Iowa improve? The answer may lie in the arms of their pitchers. The Hawks have the third worst ERA in the conference at 4.67. In each of their 5 last losses, they put a dagger in themselves. Against Indiana, they offered up 5 runs in a single inning in each of the 3 contests. The same story in the final series game against Michigan. The Wolverines put up 5 runs in the 8th to seal the win. The response to this? A simple remedy.
Our expectations need to be higher.
Iowa returns to Big Ten action Friday at Northwestern. There's a new champion in men's college basketball and one of the more improbable matchups in recent memory. 7-seeded UConn defeated 8-seeded Kentucky 60-54. The 5 freshman Wildcats that started were overmatched by senior Husky and Final Four most outstanding player, Shoaz Napier, who led the Huskies in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Free throws were a huge factor in the game. UConn's perfect night from the charity stripe compared to Big Blue's 54% shooting night. Of course, some people were upset that the NCAA championship game was between teams not even ranked in the top 25. Saying teams like Florida or Wisconsin were the better teams all year. Our own Kevin Glick makes the case for UConn.
Thanks, Jalen. And as always in the NCAA tournament, when lower seeds play in the tougher round of games, people get upset. But I'm here to make the case for UConn and why they're very deserving of their national championship. I know they didn't play in a very strong conference in the AAC, but take a look at who they beat to get there. They beat Iowa State, who won the Big 12 tournament. They beat Michigan State, who won the Big 10 tournament. And they beat Florida, who won the SEC tournament. So the notion that they didn't play any tough competition is really quite ridiculous. And when it comes down to the NCAA, it really comes down to guard play, and they had 2 of the best guards in the country and in the tournament in Ryan Boatwright and MVP of the tournament, Shoaz Napier. Sure, they weren't the best team all year, but they were the best team when it counts. There's a reason why the teams that win the NCAA tournament get so hot, and it's because they play well as a team, and UConn came together and peaked at the right time. Take a look at their opponent, Kentucky. They were the preseason number 1 when the season started. They had a little bit of a rough patch in the regular season, but they started playing the way that they should have in the tournament when it counted. And so I have really no problem of those 2 teams matching up. There's no reason to think that a matchup between 2 teams that have won 6 titles in the past 20 years is ridiculous. And on top of that, UConn's won 4 of them. They're a blue blood in college basketball. So even if they didn't have the best year this year, they are definitely one of those top-tier programs, and they deserve every bit of the championship that they won.
Before we leave you, late-breaking news regarding the men's basketball team. Darius Stokes and Kyle Meyer both been granted the full release from their scholarships. Stokes, who graduates in May, still has a year of eligibility and will look to use that final year elsewhere. Meyer, however, has 3 years left and will have to sit out a season before he can return to the court. That's all we have time for you today. Tune in to tomorrow's show for sound from football media availability and another edition of What It Takes. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jalen. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
The Food Recovery Network is hitting the UI campus. Read how they plan to reduce waste at the school.
And 2 new officers will be selected tonight for ECGP. That's the Graduate Student Government. Learn the results in tomorrow's pages.
That's all we have for you tonight. Catch up with us tomorrow night at the same time or online at dailyiowan.com.
Have a great night.